Hello, everyone. Welcome to the StriveScan College Launchpad. We're so excited to have you participating in this event. We have some fantastic panelists here with us today. This panel will last approximately 45 minutes. My name is Sarah, and I will be your facilitator. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use, and we encourage you to use, the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. This is just one of many different sessions happening. So after this, we have a round of college fairs. So be sure to check the schedule on the website. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/launch, excuse me. I'd now like to turn it over to our wonderful panelists, and I'll kick it over to you, Carla.
All right, good evening, everyone, and thanks for being here. I'll just take a brief moment to share my screen. All right, and I'll kick it over to Marcus to introduce the first institution on the panel. Marcus.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Marcus Fitz, and I am an admissions counselor for Radford University. Now, our university is based right here in the heart of the New River Valley, about 45 minutes south of Roanoke, Virginia, and I am very excited to be here with you all today.
Hello, good evening. My name is Manya Martin, and I am one of the Senior Assistant Deans of Admissions at James Madison University, which is located in Harrisonburg, Virginia, which is a little bit north of Radford. And I am excited to be here this evening to talk to you a little bit more about JMU.
And good evening, everyone, to Carla Moore here from Old Dominion University, located on the east coast of Virginia in Norfolk, Virginia, which is dead smack in the middle of the coastal Virginia region. And of course, I'll be joining my colleagues tonight. And what we'll be talking about is addressing the needs of underrepresented students as it pertains to our three unique campuses. I just want to quickly go over some of our objectives and what this presentation will provide for those of you that are tuning in. We will definitely define who the underrepresented populations are in higher education. We will provide examples of programs that serve underrepresented populations on JMU, ODU, and Radford's campus uniquely. And then definitely provide resources pertaining to those underrepresented populations and some of those that you can take advantage of should you choose to enroll at one of our institutions. To formally define who is underrepresented in higher ed, as we want to clarify exactly who we're talking about in today's presentation, underrepresented populations are low income, first generation, LGBTQIA+, and minority students. And they are often those populations on the college campuses that means they make up a small fraction of the college's total population. So big state schools, large universities, these particular populations make up a very small portion. And since they do make up a small portion, they face unique challenges when it comes to both applying and attending these different universities. We definitely want to kick off with what do underrepresented students need? So as we talk about the populations and how they pertain to campuses, what is it that they need? Of course, they need the transition to college to be eased. We want to make this smooth and seamless. We want them to feel as if you're not alone on any individual campus. Enhanced visibility of financial aid and work study options, multicultural awareness, supportive faculty and staff, and campus resources, which all of us will definitely go into a little later in our presentation. I do want to, before kicking it off into the specific colleges, transition it over to Marcus from Radford to talk a little bit more about the importance of the financial aid piece.
Absolutely. Now, just to go back off of this to Carla, when it comes to financial aid is actually one of the most important facets of the actual student area of coming into a university lifestyle. And arguably, it can actually be known as the most sensitive area of the entire college admissions process. Now, financial aid and college affordability is also one of the biggest areas that hinders these incredible students within these actual bodies of groups, which it actually kind of hinders their ability to further their education and achieve their dreams without having the actual financial aid necessary in order to afford to go to college. Now, if I had to give about 3 different tips for future college students, number 1 would be definitely to complete the FAFSA as early as possible. Okay, the FAFSA opens every single year on October the 1st. The earlier that the FAFSA is completed, the more funds around the state, around your individual campuses will be actually available. Okay, number 2 will also be apply for any and all scholarships that you may actually qualify for. Okay, contact your guidance counselors at your local high school and see if there are any scholarships that you may actually qualify for and apply for. Okay, and then number 3 will also be to stay informed of all opportunities for financial aid and apply. Okay, now taking back to Mrs. DeCarla.
Thank you so much, Marcus, and everyone. Hopefully you've taken in those tips on financial aid. And if you can tune into a financial aid session or ask a financial aid representative at the schools you're interested in, we highly recommend. So I'll go ahead and kick us off tonight by talking about how can we serve on our individual campuses. And I just want to start off by talking a little bit about a program we have at Old Dominion University. Of course, TRIO, Student Support Services. You may have seen the acronym SSS before, or you may be familiar with Upward Bound. These are actually federally funded programs by the U.S. Department of Education, and it's also one of the oldest retention programs on the college campuses. Student Support Services is funded to actually provide individualized support services to students who are first gen, coming from low income, or even have disabilities. On ODU's campus, we work very closely with TRIO Support Services and Upward Bound to provide things like financial assistance, whether it's personal management of finances, obtaining finances for college. We work with them on coaching, student success coaching. We mentor them. We put them into free seminars and webinars. We want to match them with faculty mentors or other students on campus who are also in these categories. We just want the students that are participants in TRIO Support Services or Upward Bound to be aware that you can continue to receive these services as a collegiate student. And depending on what high school, county, city you're coming from, you may have already heard of or participated in TRIO Support Services or Upward Bound or AVID programs in your school. So definitely something to consider on the college level. Next, I want to talk a little bit about safe space. If you are a student that may be a member of the LGBTQIA community, the Safe Space Committee at Old Dominion provides a way to strive to reduce homophobia, transphobia, and heterosexism in the ODU campus community. We are all dedicated to that vision of having an open and accepting space for all students of the LGBTQIA community. And with this, we're helping to cultivate that climate through awareness, education, and advocacy. Just a few of the programs that are included in the Safe Space arena that our Faculty Safe Space Committee puts together are the annual Pride Fest on campus. We have a Spirit Day dedicated specifically to the LGBTQIA community, a rainbow graduation ceremony, and awareness days throughout the year. So we definitely want students who are members of the community to feel safe, to feel like you can be open, you can be yourself, and you're able to connect with the community exactly on the campus of Old Dominion University. Lastly, I'd like to talk quickly about first generation. First generation is an extremely important population of students that fall under all of the categories I talked about earlier. First generation at ODU is a very large population. We're a public state institution. We have about 25,000 students, and you're looking at almost 5,000 students that are specifically first generation, and over 109 first generation faculty members that identify as well. So we take care of our students by offering so many things. My favorite, of course, is the graduation pinning ceremony, where we actually have your family come to campus, your favorite mentor, a professor, someone on campus come and pin you so that you have your pin to wear with your sash as you graduate from ODU as ODU first in your family. We also pair you with a faculty mentor to work throughout the year on study skills, tips, just talking about how it feels to be in college and how that transition is from home. We do put you, of course, if you're interested in a first living, learning community. That's where you live in a building on a floor with other students who are also first in their family to attend college, so that you have that common bond. And then if you're interested in inducting into Alpha Alpha Alpha, which is the Tri-Alpha Honor Society that is specific to first generation students, and it's housed on specific campuses throughout the United States. So I definitely want my first generation students in the audience to know we see you, we recognize you, and we do receive, and we're able to assist you as you transition over to ODU. I'll go ahead and kick it to my colleague, Marcus.
Absolutely, thank you. Now, Radford University strives and takes pride in our diversity and student inclusion through a variety of areas that we have here on campus. Now, to take a few moments and highlight some of these areas, we have the Center for Diversity and Inclusion, which is actually the biggest department on campus that gives resources, plans various events, and think tanks on campus in order to give our students a voice. We call this center CDI for short. Now, the goal of this center is to actually explore and encourage diversity and to promote a deeper understanding and appreciation for people from all backgrounds. The center itself commits to educating students, staff, and faculty on issues of diversity in order to create an inclusive environment through the entire campus. Okay, now this center actually partners with other departments around campus to host various events and student involvement opportunities throughout the actual academic year. Now, our space is our student involvement pipeline for students all across campus, from festivals, student-led panels, awareness programming through social media, and talent showcasing. This gives students a conduit and a sense of value while they're on our campus. We make sure that our students' voices are heard and their concerns are taken into consideration for everything that we do. Now, on the next slide, success and retention for our students continues to be and remain a key part of our campus experience. As part of our experience here, we created a once in a week, one credit course called University 100 that all freshmen take as an elective. Now, this course is geared to help students and freshmen actually transition into the university lifestyle. Students are engaged in various topics, different student panels. They actually give history of our campus through the actual learning culture. Now, one of the biggest projects in this actual class is the ability to interview a professor on campus. Through this project specifically, students become more personal with their professor and helps to shed fear away of actually being one-on-one with your actual instructor. Now, another piece of the University 100 course is that actually all of the classes are taught in conjunction with the professor. They're actually taught with a peer instructor who is actually a student here, who is either from a sophomore to a junior to a senior to even a graduate assistant. Those peer instructors actually serve in a mentoring role for their peers, which is actually truly phenomenal. Now, on the next slide, some of our actual most recent efforts due to the social injustice and civil disparities over the past couple of years, our students used their voice in the conduit that I had just talked about to create something called the RU, the Bigger Picture Celebration and Essence Festival. The Center for Diversity and Inclusion, as well as our space, host this event every single year with various different departments around campus who helps to sponsor the event, grab different vendors. A lot of our professors actually give speeches, spoken word. Our students engage in talent showcasing, just to give students the ability to have their voice on a bigger platform in order to make sure that they have that value necessary to be who they are. Now, Radford University, in conjunction with the RU the Bigger Picture event, we started to actually annually have an event called the Essence Festival. Now, have you heard of the Essence Festival? It's actually a real true event that happens every single year. Very, very Black focused, and that's what we actually brought here to our campus for not only the actual minority group, but for all of the groups on campus. And this one, again, it's a very talent-focused, music-driven event. The university actually invites various bands locally, even on a bigger national field, to come to our school, share their talents, give students a sense of pride in themselves to give them the ability to be comfortable while they are here. Now, were just a few of the opportunities that and efforts that we have at Radford University that we have created in order to make sure that our students are valued and that they have the actual resources necessary to make sure that they are successful as students. Now, with that, I will pass on over to Mrs. Moniette.
Thank you. And again, I'm very delighted to be here this evening to speak about James Madison University and what we offer with regards to our diversity offices, programs, and different organizations. We truly, as an institution, have a mission and stand by our mission of assisting and leading in a creative and inclusive environment for faculty, staff, and for students. It's within our purpose that our leadership stay continuously assessing and improving diversity initiative and inclusivity throughout our learning community. We also, our units across campus work collaboratively to build a capacity to recognize and to also value the differences of students as well as faculty and staff throughout our university. We actually are recently coming off of a 18-month focus group process in which all aspects and pretty much every person on campus has taken a part of this particular project, and that we really want to take a closer look at diversity and how inclusive we are as a university. And as a result of this, one of the things that I'd like to state and highlight, which is quite impressive, that we received over 100 different recommendations in terms of ways in which we can come together as a university to be sure that we are achieving the purpose and mission of the diversity within our university. We definitely encourage and support positive interactions between diverse populations while maximizing the benefits of multicultural inclusivity throughout the university. Our senior leadership is very dedicated to the policies, programs, and opportunities to be able to build and enhance our diversity here at JMU. Like my colleagues from both Radford and ODU, we too also have a center in which is our largest center in terms of housing of diversity and inclusivity programming. The Center for Multicultural Services is an integral part of our students' experience. Within that office, there are over 46 different multicultural student organizations. And the CMUS office strives to support an inclusive campus with dialogue, leadership, cultural celebrations, as DeMarcus has also shared. Throughout the year, there are various programs that happen. One of the programs that I've highlighted here is actually called Deep Impact, which stands for Diversity Education Empowerment Program. This is a program in which current students are trained to then go out and be peers within the JMU community, whether it be in the residence halls, within the classrooms, and they really are trained to talk and really open up the dialogue between students as well as faculty and staff throughout the university as it pertains to diversity. Some of our other programs that are segues into for first generation college students. One is was started in 2004. That particular program is called our Centennial Scholars program. This program is for students that have been admitted to JMU and also may have been potentially Pell eligible students. So, and oftentimes we know that Pell that population typically is first generation. So that scholarship has now been, we'll be going into our 20th year. Can't believe that, but definitely we've seen over 250 to 300 Centennial Scholars come through this program. In 2016, another program, the Valley Scholars Program, was introduced to the Harrisonburg, sort of Shenandoah Valley area. These students start off as early as their 8th grade year of their middle school, so 7th and 8th grade students. And we actually work with those students and expose them to our campus over the course of their time finishing out middle school, and then as they go matriculate into high school. Then those students at their senior year have the opportunity to apply to JMU and be admitted sort of right off the bat if they have maintained strong academics and they fit into our applicant pool. So we're pretty excited about that. The first set of Valley Scholars is actually scheduled. I think they've actually graduated this year. So we're pretty excited about that program. One of our newer programs is the Bridge to Madison. This is actually kicking off this year, where students from the will have the opportunity to do 1 year at Blue Ridge Community College, but they'll actually get to live on our campus. So they will have a dual sort of college experience, and that they'll get to live in our dorms and utilize our programs and resources, but they, for the first year, will be taking their courses at Blue Ridge Community College. So this program is targeted and being offered to students that we feel may not quite have made that admissions point for the academic year, but if given another year or so, at least a year at the community college level, then they would matriculate to JMU. Other programs that we have available are the Torch. Torch is Together, Obtaining Resources for College Help, quite similar to DeMarcus and Radford's first year. Students, though, opt to go into this program, and it was also created by first-gen students. So that makes this program quite unique, because the students themselves have stepped up and said, hey, we need this. And so the program has definitely blossomed into, I believe, more than what they had thought. These students actually get to live together in a living community as well. We also then have SOGI, which is directed towards our sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression students. So this community supports the JMU LGBTQ community. Then there's Thrive. This is for our graduate students. They too have created this program for themselves towards a healthy, responsive, inclusively valued environment for our graduate students. That community is a little bit smaller, but we do believe that they too have needs. And so they actually have formed a group such as Thrive, in which it provides and they come together for support as well. And then there's a mentoring program called Rebound. So we've tried to touch on all the basic needs that Carla actually mentioned at the top of this session with regards to bringing students together and meeting their needs from different backgrounds. And again, just to sort of wrap things up towards the end, my name is Monyette Martin, and I'm with James Madison University. Again, Marcus is from Radford University, and Carla from Old Dominion University. As you can see, there are definitely some similarities and some differences. With regards to our university, it's always nice to be able to be on a panel with these folks, because I think the largest difference we have is really in size and location. Other than that, we kind of do and cross over and overlap in quite a few areas. At this point in the session, we'd like to be able to open the session up for questions. If you have questions, you can share those questions either in the chat, or you can share them with us, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Well, I'd like to take this time to thank our wonderful presenters and thank you all for joining. If you have any questions, I would encourage you to get in touch with these lovely folks. I know that they would be happy to help and answer any questions that you do have. Thank you so much for joining us. And when you close this, window, there will be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. We encourage you to check back the schedule and sign up for more sessions throughout the rest of the week. And you'll be able to find the sessions recording as well as all of the other session recordings at strivescan.com/launch. Thank you again to our wonderful panelists today, and have a great rest of your day.